Welcome to Twisted Terrors. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. The float plane dropped them on the edge of a half-frozen lake, its propeller roar fading into the distance until all that remained was the thin whistle of the wind. Sam and Eric stood with their packs, rifles slung across their shoulders, staring at the shadow of mountains that cut the sky. "This is it," Sam said, grinning, his breath fogging in the cold. A week off the grid, just hunting, fishing, and whiskey. Eric didn't smile. He glanced across the water toward a black smudge of roofline barely visible through the spruce trees. The cabin. The one Sam's uncle had left behind before disappearing 30 years ago. Something about it made Eric's stomach knot. The first night. By the time they reached the cabin, dusk was falling hard. The structure leaned as though exhausted, its log walls warped, the door hanging crooked on its hinges. Animal skulls had been nailed above the entry, long ago and long forgotten, their hollow sockets staring down. "Looks welcoming," Eric muttered. Sam pushed the door open with a laugh. The smell of rot and dust hit them immediately. Inside, the floor was littered with bones. Small ones, rabbit or fox, cracked and scattered. A trapper's remnants, Sam insisted. But Eric noticed claw marks gouged deep into the door frame, too high for any animal he knew. That night, the wind screamed around the cabin. The fire they built spat and hissed, throwing more shadows than warmth. Sam passed a flask back and forth, and soon he was snoring on his bedroll. Eric lay awake, listening. From somewhere in the trees came the faint sound of knocking, slow, deliberate. 3 taps, then silence. He tried to wake Sam, but the man was dead to the world. When Eric finally drifted off, he dreamed of faces in the frost on the window, gray, frozen mouths stretched wide in silent screams. The hunt. The next day, they tracked moose through the timberline. The air was sharp enough to cut their lungs, the snow unbroken except for the deep prints they followed. Hours passed. The trail led them farther from the cabin than either realized, until the sun was a smear of red on the horizon. That's when they heard it. A voice. Thin, cracked, carried on the wind. It whispered in a language neither understood, but the sound of it prickled their skin like needles. Sam spun in circles with his rifle raised. "Hello? Who's there?" The trees answered only with silence. Then Eric noticed something. Their own footprints in the snow. But alongside them, other tracks. Bare human feet, small, leading directly behind them. They hurried back, panic pushing them faster. The tracks followed them all the way to the cabin door, before vanishing into nothing. The curse. That night the knocking returned. Louder, closer. 3 sharp raps, not from outside this time, but from underneath the floorboards. The fire guttered out as if snuffed by unseen hands. Sam cursed, fumbling for a lantern. Its weak light cast across the walls, where frost spread like veins. In the frost were shapes again, faces, clearer now, their eyes sunken black, their mouths moving soundlessly. Eric backed against the wall. "We shouldn't be here. There's something wrong." A sound cut him off, the dragging of nails against wood. From beneath the cabin, something scraped and clawed. The lantern flickered, then blew out. Darkness swallowed them whole. The frozen dead. The trapdoor in the corner burst upward, slamming against the wall. A wave of cold air poured through, carrying with it the stench of decay. Shapes crawled out, emaciated, gray-skinned figures, their flesh cracked with the ice. Their eyes glowed faintly blue, like trapped starlight. Eric screamed. Sam fired his rifle into the dark, the muzzle flashes revealing glimpses of twisted faces, mouths split wide, teeth like shards of ice. "They're the ones who never left," Eric shouted, dragging Sam toward the door. "The hunters, the trappers, your uncle." They burst into the night, the aurora burning green above them. But the figures followed, moving slow yet relentless, dragging their broken limbs through the snow. Eric ran until his lungs tore with fire, but Sam fell behind, his boot catching a root. When Eric turned, he saw the frozen dead swarming over his friend, pulling him down into the snow. Sam's scream cut off in an instant. Eric didn't stop running until the lake came into view. The escape. By dawn, Eric had built a fire on the shoreline, waving desperately at the returning float plane. When the pilot pulled him aboard, Eric couldn't speak, couldn't explain, only pointed toward the trees. Through the morning mist, the cabin still stood, tilted, rotten, its windows black. But just before the plane lifted off the lake, Eric saw them, a dozen pale figures standing at the tree line, watching. Sam among them now, his eyes glowing faint and blue. They were waiting, and Eric swore he heard the knocking again, echoing in his chest, promising that the curse of the frozen dead would follow him wherever he went. As always, thanks so much for watching. Your support is much appreciated.